Immortality. Immortality is a state of existence in which an entity can live for an infinite length of time without dying. Is immortality a blessing or a curse disguised as a blessing? From time to time, humans asked gods for immortality, used alchemy to reach immortality, and experimented with science to reach immortality, but to no success. I wonder why. Humans have great potential, but it's not limitless. We are limited by the biological makeup of our body. We can't push past beyond that certain point. But as the idiots we are, we still try to push past that limit and kick the bucket earlier. Immortality is truly a painful existence. Everyone around you dies before you. Your partner, children, and even grandchildren will die before you. Hi, I'm Megamin, and this is a piece of my madness. I'm going to base this theory or explanation or whatever you want to call it using Chasm Archon Quest. So if you haven't finished it, don't blame me for spoiling you. Dainsleif talks about how the people of Khaenri'ah were put under a curse of immortality by the gods. But even if they can't die, they are still not rid of the clutches of erosion. This actually has science behind it, like how I said aging and delusions have more connection than just simple magic. To be fair, miracles are just natural phenomena that we can't still understand through science due to technological barriers. Let's get to dissecting this curse. There are three parts to cracking this: mind, body, and the soul that links them. Human mind or the brain is like a supercomputer, but just like any computer, us also have a limit to the number of information we can store in it. We think we can keep infinite number of information in our tiny brains, but that's because we forget half the things we learn every day. Take yourself for example. Do you remember what you ate for dinner 2 weeks ago? One or two may say yes because they ate at a fancy restaurant or something. Unless it's memorable, our brains give up on useless information unintentionally to keep the computing power of our brain at a manageable level. It's like clearing RAM on your phone. Even so, this random guy called Professor Paul Reber, who messes with memories, found that roughly 2.5 petabytes of memory is the limit of our memory bank. That's about 300 years worth of anime. The problem with that is that it only counted the image and auditory sensory data we get from sight and hearing. There are three more inputs. Yes, it's true that we can't imagine senses like touch, smell, and taste like images and sound. But still, when we feel something out of these three senses again, we can remember what it is or who it is. This means that even though we can't bring it up, the data is still stored in our brains to recognize it when we need it. If we add these data, the amount of sensory data we can keep drops to at least 150 years. I'm not a neurologist, so take this number at face value. The curse we are dealing with here extends life to infinity. Put into better words, the link between the soul and the human body is reinforced by something. Because of this, that human who is supposed to carry only 150 years of memory now has to carry memories beyond that limit. When the max load exceeds, the brain needs to either refuse the new memories or dump the old memories to make space for new ones. But most humans are emotional and greedy. They don't want to let go of the past memories. What happens when you squeeze too much into a closed space? It explodes. Don't take this too literally. People of Khaenri'ah didn't get their brains exploded suddenly. They just snapped. And the complex computing skills like rational thinking flew right out of the window. They went back to using their primal instincts to live like wild animals. Now that Hillagers are living like a tribe with minimum brain function, the amount of new data they need to keep is also cut down. They evolved to maintain their curse. It's just that not in the very happy ending way. If you look at gods and other mythical beings, they naturally have extended life or immortality. Zhongli, the oldest Archon, has over 6,000 years of memory. Yaemiko said she can tell about every single day perfectly since A shut herself in. Now that I think about it, maybe Yae might have a photographic memory. The two immortal humans who still have their sanity intact are Chi-Ji and dainsleif. Chi-Ji has dementia and loses her memory constantly, and dainsleif said he's starting to lose his memory in Travel Trailer. Who knows, maybe the it dainsleif said might be a similar item to Chi-Ji's talisman. Their hippocampus might be screwed, but there are things like familiarity, that have no explanation in science yet. No disappears with memory. Since they can't die, that's the only way they cope. Just like the mind, the body also has limits. There are genes in our cell that switch off or on when we grow older, and one of these slows down our reproduction of cells. When the speed of the cell reproduction drops, the existing cells grow older and older until the body itself shuts down, and that is what we call death. But the curse these people have doesn't allow the body to shut down, so the body is forced to evolve into something more suitable to living forever using the existing biological makeup. It's not a pretty sight to behold. No one is evolving into a level 6 today. Do you know why the Hilichurls have black skin? It's not because their skin is black, but rather their blood starts to break down and dry. Hemoglobin, the protein that carries oxygen, reacts and breaks down into methanoglobin, which turns red blood cells into a darker red. Then another protein called hemichrome makes it even darker until it's almost black. Yeah, so their blood starts to rot and dry within them. A human in the current era can live up to a maximum of 120 years, if they are lucky or unlucky, that is. But unofficial records from back in the day says some extraordinary people lived up to 160 years. Our brains limit us from using 100% of our body strength to maximum of 80% of it. So if 80% is 120 years, 100% makes 150 years of life. The human body can hold itself together for a maximum of 150 years. And that number is also what I came up for the mental capacity. It can be coincidence, right? When the time runs out, the body starts to decay. But since the humans can't die, their body starts to mutate again and again until it reaches what we see today. Maybe in another century or so, when this body also gives up, they will mutate again. If they survive without getting killed, that is. Dainsleif said, they were once humans, but not anymore. So in a way, killing them might be giving them the rest they deserve. It's odd how most Hilichurls are aggressive towards us, knowing very well they are going to get killed. If they truly run on instincts, a normal animal's first instinct would be to run away from the threat. Hilichurls aggro us specifically because they instinctually want someone to kill them. I'm not the one to talk about your moral decision to take someone else's life, even if it's their choice. But better keep reality separate from fantasy to keep your sanity. I'm not sure how they evolve into Meteortrolls, Samatrolls, and Lavatrolls, but shooting in the dark, I would say their physical and mental abilities they possess as humans might have played a role. So, in this case, if a human was a fighter, they would become Metas, with less magic and more punching power. Ones who has more familiarity with elemental and science stuff become Samas with magic and no strength. It's not like they age from Hilichurls to Meteortrolls and Lavatrolls, then Samatrolls lastly. If that's the case, there should be more dead Samas in the chasm than the normal dudes. Serpent Knights retain their body shape after all these years. We can't dissect them and see inside, but I am pretty sure their body fused with their armor. Time to change gears, cause science ain't working on this shit. This curse is especially cruel than usual immortality curse since it doesn't change the receiver's biological makeup to adjust to living forever and retain infinite memories. This also connects to how Sustainer's power. We know that Sustainer is the one who put the curse on these people from Khaenri'ah since in both these cutscenes, her boxes are present. We still think she's Hershow's Void counterpart or Paimon's true form because she looks like Kiana and Paimon. But here's the thing, space cannot tamper with souls and other powers. Power of space is something that controls Object X's movements through 3-dimensional space. Just think hard. Why do you think her boxes always move in a group when chasing after twins if all she needs to do is just snap her fingers and change twins' coordinates to capture them? People of Khaenri'ah were not given the curse of immortality. Their souls were chained down to their body, removing the power to die. A typical curse of immortality works because it's given to only one person so they can be broken down emotionally. But this is a group project. An entire civilization was immortalized. So the emotional breakdown part doesn't work. So the power of the Sustainer is not space, but rather the power of binding and restraining. Just look how she fights. Her blocks move connected to each other like a chain. And now look at the symbol inside these individual boxes. It looks like a chain link or a fancy lock. Two loops connected by a nail to make a hinge. A chain that binds its targets. That is what her power means. It's not too far-fetched to say she is the chain that binds heaven and earth together. Who knows? She might be based on Enkidu. The guy was sent down from heaven to bind Gilgamesh. Doesn't it make sense when you think about it? She was able to restrain both the twins in a box. Plus, she unbinded our original power from our body. Not convinced yet? Take her name, the sustainer of heavenly principles. The meaning of sustainer is someone who upholds or maintains, like the damn police. So, it makes perfect sense for someone to have the authority to bind souls and put them under house arrest. By that I mean binding the soul to its housing, the body. Now don't jump to conclusions of her being the Hersha of binding just because I said her power is binding. The Hersha controls energy, which we don't know if the Sustainer can do. Doesn't the curse of immortality put on the people of Khaenri'ah sound more realistic and clearer now? I think this is enough biology lessons for this week. I thought my theory on delusions was sensitive. Guess this is kinda terrifying to think about too. All the brains exploding and rotting blood stuff. I didn't think this video is going to be a crazy theory video that storms on other theories at first. But oh well, that's why you are here, isn't it? To drown in chaos. That is exact opposite of the popular opinion. Anyway, always remember, this is just a theory in a random dude's head on the internet. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. If you want more, subscribe to the channel and join the madness. Check out my video on the Genshin community here, or similar to this one, more science heavy video like this delusion video. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, let your imaginations run wild.